The Apache warrior raised his fist, dust swirling around his boots. "I'll turn you into nothing," he spat, loud enough for the whole saloon. But the boy didn't flinch. His badge glinted under the lamp. And in that silence, one question burned. Did he even know whose son he was threatening? The saloon air thickened, chairs scraped, a bottle rolled off a table and shattered, sharp as the threat. The Apache warrior towered, muscles taut, eyes hot with pride. "Dust," he repeated, voice like stone breaking. The boy didn't back away. He leaned one elbow on the bar, calm, almost amused. "Big words." A drunk chuckled nervously, then fell quiet as the Apache slammed his palm against the bar top. The wood groaned. "You mock me." The boy's gaze never wavered. "I just wonder, what will the sheriff say when he finds out?" A hush fell. Cards froze mid-shuffle. Boots stopped tapping. The Apache's jaw tightened. "What do you mean?" Someone in the back muttered, "That's the sheriff's son." The words cut sharper than a blade. The Apache's eyes flicked, measuring. Dust motes danced between them like sparks. He growled, low, "Then I'll make him watch me finish what I started." The boy finally stood, slow, deliberate. His voice dropped to steel. "Careful, you're one step from a noose." A chair creaked. An old ranch hand rose, placing a weathered hand between them. "Easy, boys. No one needs blood tonight." The Apache brushed him off with a shove. "Step aside." The ranch hand staggered, knocked into a table. Ale spilled across the floor. The boy caught him before he fell, steadying him. "Sit down, old man. I've got you." That small act of care cut sharper than any insult. The Apache saw it, saw the steadiness, and for the first time his confidence cracked. "Why protect him?" the Apache asked, voice laced with confusion. "Because it's what men do," the boy answered. The doors swung open, boots heavy, spurs sharp. The sheriff himself stood in the doorway, silhouette framed in lantern glow. Every head turned, silence pressed. The sheriff's eyes swept the room, landed on the Apache, then on his son. "What's this?" his voice rumbled. The Apache straightened, hiding his fists behind his back. The boy just crossed his arms, calm as ever. And for a moment, no one breathed, waiting to see if pride or blood would rule the night. The sheriff's arrival changes the game, but will he protect his son or punish the Apache's arrogance before the crowd? The sheriff's boots echoed across the saloon floor. Each step made the room shrink smaller. "Answer me," he said. His voice carried more weight than a rifle hammer. The Apache warrior squared his shoulders. "Your son spat on me." The sheriff's gaze shifted to the boy. "True." The boy didn't flinch. "I told him words don't scare me." A chair squeaked in the corner. Someone muttered, "Brave but foolish." The sheriff ignored it. His eyes locked on the Apache. "And your answer was dust." The Apache's lips curled. "Dust is what all men become. I only choose the time." Gasps cut the silence. A drunk stumbled back, muttering a prayer. The boy spoke low. "You threaten me in my father's house?" The Apache's nostrils flared. "Your father doesn't own the ground we stand on." The sheriff's jaw tightened. "But I hold the law over it." The warrior stepped forward until his breath brushed the sheriff's badge. "Law fades when fire comes." The boy's hand slid toward his belt. Not fast, not loud, just steady. "Stop," the sheriff ordered. His palm came up, a wall between them. "No guns." The crowd exhaled as one. An old barkeep shuffled forward, trembling, holding out a glass of water. "Here. Cool your throats. No need for blood." The Apache slapped it away. The glass shattered, water spreading across the floorboards. "I don't drink mercy." The boy bent down, picked up a shard, and set it gently on the counter. "Careful," he told the barkeep. "Don't cut yourself." That act, the smallest kindness, made the Apache falter. His threat rang thinner now. "You pretend strength with words," he growled. "No," the boy said. "Strength is not leaving broken glass where others can bleed." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Someone whispered, "Just like his father." The sheriff's eyes flicked to his son, pride hidden under iron, then back to the Apache. "You have a choice." The Apache's voice rose, defiant. "What choice?" "Leave this town tonight," the sheriff said, "or stand trial tomorrow." Laughter barked from the Apache's throat. "Trial? In your court?" "In mine," the sheriff confirmed. The warrior spat on the floor. "I do not bow to white law," the boy's voice cut sharp. "Then bow to the rope." Gasps again. A woman at a table clutched her shawl tighter. The sheriff's tone rumbled. Enough! You'll get no more chances." The Apache's hand twitched near his knife. "Maybe I take my chance now." Every muscle in the room tightened. Boots scraped. A pistol cocked somewhere in the back. The sheriff's stare locked him still. "Draw it, and you die here. Step back, and you live to see another sunrise." Silence. The Apache looked from father to son. Dust motes drifted between them, lit by the lantern glow. Then he stepped back, slow, grudging, but back. The crowd murmured, relief, fear, doubt. The sheriff exhaled once. "Good. Leave." The Apache's eyes lingered on the boy. "This isn't done." The boy's jaw set. "No, it's just begun." The sheriff's hand lowered, but not relaxed. "Go." The Apache turned, shoving through the doors. Dust curled in his wake. For a heartbeat, calm tried to return. The barkeep swept shards into his apron. Cards shuffled again. Cautious. Then a rider's voice burst from outside. "Sheriff! Riders on the ridge!" Boots thundered as men rushed to windows. Shadows moved under moonlight, figures on horseback, circling the town like wolves. The sheriff cursed low. He brought his kin. The boy's hand rested on his revolver. "They came for me." "No," the sheriff said. His eyes narrowed on the dark ridge. "They came for all of us." The saloon went silent again, but not from fear of one man, fear of many. The Apache hadn't retreated. He'd set the stage, and the first torch flared to life on the ridge, fire licking the sky. Torches winked on the ridge like fox eyes. "Form a line," the sheriff said. "Buckets to the well." The boy moved first. "Kids to the stone church." "Go." He lifted a sleepy child. "You with me, partner?" "Scared," the boy whispered. "I know," he said. "Hold tight." The barkeep passed wet sacks. "Roofs first." "Thank you," the boy said. "You too. Sit. That ankle." He set the child inside the church, ruffled his hair. "Guard the pews." "I will," the kid said. A hiss outside. An arrow bit the signboard. The saloon sighed. The sheriff scanned the dark. "He's not alone." Boots scraped. Old Doc Finch appeared with a crate. "Rags, carbolic." The boy took it. "Bless you." "Don't bless me," Finch said. "Use it." Hooves creaked closer. A lone rider eased from shadow, palms out. Gray braids, paint old as riverbeds. The sheriff stepped forward. "Name yourself." "Taza," the elder said. "Speak for my camp." "And the hothead?" the boy asked. Taza's mouth thinned. "Besh speaks for himself too often." Besh sat 3 horse lengths back, flanked by riders with torches. His mouth still wore that smile. The sheriff didn't lower his hand. "Terms, Taza." "Return 2 knives," Taza said. "You hold him for cutting fence." "He nicked my foreman," a rancher yelled. "Your wire nicked our deer," Taza said. The boy kept his voice level. "2 knives is in our jail, cut and bruised. He breathes." "Alive is not enough," Taza said. "We take him home." "Judge rides at dawn," the sheriff said. "Hearing at sunup." Besh laughed. "Your sun burns only our backs." The elder's glance scolded him. "Let old mouths talk." The boy lifted the carbolic. "Let me treat him now." Taza nodded once. "Act of care." They crossed to the jail. The cell door clanged. 2 knives lay on straw, cheek split, eye purple. The boy knelt. "This will sting." 2 knives didn't blink. "Do it." He cleaned the cut, bound it neat. "You'll live." 2 knives looked at Taza. "I was hungry." Taza touched his shoulder. "I know." A shout from the street. "Fire on the roof!" The boy bolted out, grabbed a ladder, climbed. He slapped wet sacking over a lick of flame. An arrow sliced his sleeve. He pressed, teeth set. The blaze coughed and died. Below, the sheriff barked, "Hold fire!" Besh spun a torch like a star. "Turn him to dust." Taza raised his palm. "No dust, not yet." The telegraph clicked from the depot, frantic. The operator waved a strip. "Sheriff." The sheriff scanned it. His jaw hardened. "What?" the boy asked. "Receiver, Vance," he said. "Assume custody of reservation felons. Suspend sheriff if obstructing." "Paper," Doc Finch spat. A lantern bobbed. A coach rolled up, wheels hissing. A thin man stepped down in a rain slicker, clean as a church floor. "Good evening," he said. "Vance, railroad receiver." "Wrong night," the sheriff said. "No night is wrong for order," Vance replied. "Pleasant." He held up a red-sealed writ. "Federal delegation. I'll take the prisoner." Taza's knuckles whitened on his rein. "That paper steals breath." Besh grinned. "At least it's honest." The boy stared at Vance. "You suspend my father." "If he obstructs," Vance said. Smile mild. "Do you obstruct, Sheriff?" "Court sits here at sunup," the sheriff said. "Court sits where the rails say," Vance answered. "Hand over 2 knives, then disperse your crowd." The boy stepped between them. "We parleyed a care." He nodded to Taza. "We keep our word." Vance didn't raise his voice. "Care is a candle. Law is the sun." A torch rolled down the ridge. Bales smoked at the livery. "Bucket line," the boy called. He ran. He hauled water. He passed it down the row. People moved because his voice left no room not to. The fire hissed out. Cheers rose, thin but real. Besh's riders whooped back. One pitched a torch toward the church. It landed short, sputtering in the dust. The boy kicked dirt over it. "Try again." Taza's stare burned Besh. "Child in there," Besh spat. "And their law out here." The sheriff looked from Vance's seal to Taza's face, to his son's raw sleeve. "We end this without bodies," he said. "How?" the boy asked. "Trade," the sheriff said. "Escort 2 knives to the line with Taza. We keep the peace." Vance's smile didn't move. "That's above your pay." "Then dock me," the sheriff said. He unlocked the cell. 2 knives stepped out slow. The boy steadied him. 1 mile. Then you turn east." Taza nodded. 1 mile. They walked. Whole town watched. Torches crawled along the ridge, keeping pace like wolves that tasted a new story. Vance's men trailed, neat and quiet. "Document the transfer," he told a clerk. The boy felt eyes on his neck. He whispered to Taza, "Hold Besh." Taza's mouth was a scar. "He doesn't hold." Halfway to the line, a glint winked in the grass. The boy paused. "Down!" A shot snapped from the coach line, not the ridge. Vance's man had fired. The slug chewed dust at 2 knives' heel. Taza roared, "Treachery!" Besh kicked his mount and whooped. "Dust!" Riders poured from the dark. "Hold!" the sheriff shouted at Vance. "Call your man!" Vance didn't blink. "He fired by error." "Your error bleeds," the boy snapped. Arrows arced. One cracked the coach lamp. Darkness jumped. The boy saw the second muzzle raise behind the wheel hub. He moved without thinking. He shoved Taza aside. The shot burned his shoulder sleeve, hot and mean. Besh saw the push. He heard the shot. He saw town smoke and neat men with neat coats lifting rifles. He made a choice the night would remember. He threw a loop. The rope bit the boy's chest. It yanked him off his feet. "Son!" the sheriff roared. Taza wheeled on Besh. "Stop!" Besh didn't. He spurred. The rope dragged the boy through dust. Boots clawed for grip. Nails tore the earth. 2 knives lurched to help. Vance's men raised rifles like a wall. The sheriff charged them, badge blazing. "Lower!" Vance's tone stayed pleasant. "Sheriff, you are suspended." "This is my town," the sheriff said. He knocked a rifle aside with his forearm and smashed its owner flat. The boy's fingers found the rope. He rolled, gasping. He slid under a hitching post. The rope caught, jerked Besh half from the saddle. "Cut it!" a rider yelled. The boy fumbled for his knife. Not there. It had flown in the drag. He clawed for a shard of bottle. His hand found glass. He sawed once, twice. The shard slipped. The rope held. Besh righted and heeled his horse. Dust swallowed them both. "Hold fire!" Taza shouted to the ridge. "Hold!" Arrows wavered. Rifles wavered. No one understood whose blood was owed in this heartbeat. Vance stepped back into shadow, voice silk. "Stand down, all of you. Receiver custody now." The sheriff didn't hear him. He heard only the scrape of his boy's boots on rock, as Besh dragged him toward open desert. "Cover me," the sheriff barked. Doc Finch grabbed his sleeve. "You'll take a volley." "Then I take it," the sheriff said. Taza spurred after Besh, hair streaming. "Enough, boy." Besh slapped his horse harder. "He belongs to dust." The boy caught another loop of rope, twisted it around the post, and held with everything he had left. The rope sang. Fibers popped. Besh drew his knife. He leaned to cut the rope and cut the boy instead. As the rope sings tight, Besh raises his blade over the sheriff's son, poised to finish his threat while three sides aim at each other in the dark. The knife glinted in torchlight. Besh leaned low, teeth bared. "Dust, boy." The sheriff bellowed, "Drop it." Rifles clicked, arrows drew, fingers trembled. The boy twisted, rope still biting his chest. "Do it, then. Show them who you are." Besh's hand hesitated, just a breath, but enough. Taza galloped close, reins snapping. "Besh!" "Stay out," Besh snarled. "Your pride poisons us," Taza roared. The elder's horse cut across, forcing Besh's mount to veer. The knife missed flesh, slicing rope instead. Fibers snapped. The boy tumbled free into dust. The crowd gasped. The sheriff ran, boots pounding, dragging his son behind a trough. "You breathing?" The boy coughed hard. "Still here." "Good," the sheriff said, binding his bleeding sleeve with his own kerchief. "Stay low." Arrows loosed then, fast, hot. Two thudded into Vance's coach, one split a lantern. Flames licked canvas. "Hold!" Taza cried. "Not his war!" But the fire had spoken louder than him. Besh whirled his horse. "It's war now!" his riders screamed, charging. The sheriff pulled his son up. Inside, they staggered toward the church. Bullets and arrows cut air. Sparks rained. The boy stumbled. The sheriff hauled him by the belt. "Move!" Inside the church, Lozen's borrowed band, men and women who had followed smoke into town, closed the doors with benches. The boy collapsed by the altar, chest heaving. Doc Finch pressed cloth to his shoulder. "You'll scar." The boy laughed once, bitter. "Better than dust." The sheriff stood over him, Colt raised. His voice was steel. "No one fires unless I say." The door shook. A rider slammed it with his boot. The hinges whined. Sloan, grim at the window, leveled his rifle. "One shot ends it." "Not yet," the sheriff said. The boy gritted his teeth. "Let me stand." "You can't," Finch said. "I must," he answered. The sheriff hauled him upright. "Lean on me." He stood, pale but steady, facing the rattling door. "If he wants me, let him look me in the eyes." The room stilled. Even the wounded watched him. The door creaked. Torches flared outside. Besh's shadow loomed huge against the boards. "I'll drag you out," Besh shouted. The boy's voice answered, clear despite blood. "Then drag the sheriff's son from a church. Do it in front of your elder. Do it in front of his God." Murmurs rolled outside. Horses stamped. Taza's voice cut them. "Enough! This is shame." Besh laughed harsh. "Shame doesn't bury fences. Shame doesn't feed bellies." "Nor does dust," Taza said. The boy swayed but didn't step back. "You fear me because I'm his son." He nodded at the sheriff. "But you should fear me for myself, because I'll still be standing when your pride rots you." A hush. Even the torches crackled softer. Besh spat against the door. "Tomorrow. You're mine tomorrow." His shadow pulled away. Hooves churned. Torches drifted back into the ridge. Inside, no one moved. Doc Finch finally exhaled. "Lord save us." The sheriff set his colt down slow. "Night-bought dawn will cost." The boy slid down the wall, chest heaving. "Then we pay at dawn." The sheriff crouched beside him. His voice cracked for the first time. "You nearly left me tonight." "But I didn't," the boy whispered. "No," the sheriff said. His hand pressed his son's shoulder, not the wound, but the good side, solid. "You didn't." From the street, a whistle cut the quiet. Vance's men, untouched by arrows, marched neat, lanterns bright. Vance's voice carried, calm as always. "Sheriff, your time's done. At sun, I take custody of 2 knives, of your badge, perhaps even of your boy." The sheriff rose, rage steady now. "Try." The boy gripped his sleeve. "He will." He has paper. Then we bring truth louder than paper, the sheriff said. Lozen's bowstring thrummed once, deliberate. At sun, dust or law. Choose fast, the sheriff nodded. We will. The boy leaned back against stone, breath shallow but fierce. He smiled, despite the pain. Let them come. The church rafters groaned in the wind. Outside, 3 fires burned on the ridge. Inside, every heart beat like a drum before battle. Dawn entered on cat feet, grey first, then pale gold. The church smelled of smoke and wet wool. Doc Finch tightened the bandage. Lift, the boy hissed. That tight. Needs to be, Finch said. You bleed like a story. The sheriff poured water over a cloth. He wiped his son's neck. Cold. Good, the boy said. Keeps me awake. Outside, hooves shifted, voices low. The town held its breath. Taza stepped through the broken door. He left his hands open. Son asks for sense. The sheriff nodded. I'm asking. The boy met his eyes. Hold Besh. Taza's jaw was stone. He doesn't hold. He breaks. The sheriff slid cartridges across to Sloan. You still with us? Sloan checked his rifle. Until I see a better law. Won't find it today, the boy said. A bellbird called from the cottonwoods. Then the telegraph clicked like a cricket with a grudge. The depot runner burst in, hat in hand. Wire. Read, the sheriff said. The runner squinted. Judge delayed. Flooded crossing. County retains peace power until noon. Doc Finch grunted. God loves creeks. The boy looked at his father. You've got rope until noon. The sheriff nodded once. Then we braid it. Vance arrived like a stain. Clean coat. Clean smile. 4 guards behind him. Morning. Later than you hoped, the sheriff said. Vance lifted a red-sealed paper. Delegation still stands. Not above the wire, the sheriff said. Vance's smile didn't change. Wire can lie. Not this one, the boy said. Taza stood between them. Bring 2 knives to the square. We talk with sun on our faces. The sheriff agreed. Open hearing. No rifles raised. Vance tilted his head. I prefer signatures to talk. Talk first, Taza said. Then ink. They walked. The square woke to boots and whispers. Women with pails. Men with wet sacks. Children peeking from doors. 2 knives shuffled from the cell, bandage fresh. He met the boy's eye. You clean straight. You heel straight, the boy said. He handed him a tin of water. Small sips. 2 knives drank and nodded. Thanks. Besh's riders ringed the outer street, torches guttering in morning. Besh himself sat tall, jaw wrapped from the knight's fist. His grin looked carved and wrong. The sheriff raised his voice. Hear it? 2 knives cut wire for meat. He nicked a man. He lives. We judge him here. Vance spoke just as loud. Receiver holds all railway crimes. Return the prisoner. Suspend the sheriff. Murmurs climbed. A woman shook her head. Railroad's arms too long, Doc Finch muttered, and too clean. The boy stepped to the center and planted his boots. I was dragged last night. Rope and horse. I'm still here. I'll speak first. Besh laughed. Speak before dust eats your teeth, Taza snapped. Quiet. The boy lifted his bandaged arm for everyone to see. 2 knives didn't do this. A fancy rifle did. One with a receiver crest. Eyes went to Vance. Vance's smile thinned. Regrettable aim. Law without eyes shouldn't shoot, the boy said. The sheriff faced his son. Be careful. I am, the boy said. He turned back to the ring. 2 knives cut fence to feed, that's wrong, but hunger isn't a rope crime. 2 knives bowed his head. I pay work. Good, the boy said. You mend 6 miles with me. Murmurs changed color. A rancher nodded. Fair. Vance lifted the writ higher. This is adorable, but the rails say different. Taza's gaze cooled. Rails don't eat meat, Besh scoffed. Hungry doesn't pardon. The sheriff raised both palms. Propose terms. Work and meat, the boy said. Fence mended. Venison shared. No gallows, no dust. Taza nodded. Circle holds. 2 knives looked at him. I do it. Vance clapped once. Polite and cruel. Charming. Rejected. He pointed to the guards. Seize the prisoner. Suspend the sheriff. Arrest the son for obstruction. Rifles lifted. People flinched. The sheriff's Colt rose. You fire on this square and you write your own end. Vance smiled thin. History is written by ink, not dust. A horn sounded from the ridge. Besh's riders rippled closer. Torches brightened. Taza's hand cut the air. Hold! Besh ignored him. We finish. The boy stepped between Vance's guards and two knives. You want him? You go through me. Easy, the sheriff warned. Not easy, the boy said. Right. An old ranch wife shuffled forward and placed a single biscuit in Two Knives' hand. Eat. He blinked, stunned. Why? Because you'll mend faster, she said. That small bread hit harder than a bullet. Vance's mouth twisted. Sentiment escalates risk. The sheriff said, So does arrogance. Besh yanked a fuse from a saddlebag. He thumbed a match. Dust makes room. Taza wheeled his horse, fury cracking his voice. Besh, no. Too late, Besh said, touching flame to cord. The boy saw the spark snake toward a keg at the edge of the square. Pitch, not powder, but fire enough to make saints run. Bucket, he yelled. A child ran with a pail, tripped. Water spilled into dirt. The fuse crawled on. Hungry, the boy sprinted. Pain screamed. He didn't stop. The sheriff swore and ran beside him. Taza kicked hard, trying to cut the fuse with a hoof. Missed. Doc Finch hurled his coat. It smothered 2 inches. Not enough. The boy dove and slapped his wounded arm over the hiss. Flesh burned. He grunted, teeth clamped. The fuse died under blood and skin. Gasps buckled the square. The sheriff hauled him up, eyes wet and furious. Idiot! The boy forced a grin. Smart idiot. Care first. Then threat returned twice as fast. Vance snapped his fingers. Guards surged. Now take them both. Sloan stepped into their barrels, rifle leveled. Don't! His voice could have frozen rain. Who are you two? A guard began. Man with 1 round and no time to aim, Sloan said. Guess where it goes. Besh's riders pushed tighter, shoving townsfolk, tipping crates. Arrows whispered in quivers. The square became a powder room with no ceiling. The sheriff lifted his badge. I read the wire. Noon is mine. Vance lifted his writ. Red seal beats wire. Taza lifted his hand. Blood beats both. The boy touched his father's sleeve. Bell rope. The sheriff frowned. What? Make the town watch, the boy said. Witness makes paper tremble. The sheriff nodded once, grim. He pointed to the church. Pull it. A stable hand ran. The rope groaned. A broken bell voice spilled across roofs. People poured from doors. Eyes. So many eyes. Vance didn't like eyes. His smile went thin as wire. Crowds are a security hazard. Crowds are a jury, Doc Finch said. The boy faced Besh. You promised me tomorrow. Take me now and you prove Taza right. Pride over people. Besh lifted his chin. I prove I'm strong. Strong men pull others up, the boy said. Weak men drag. The line wavered. 3 of Besh's riders lowered their torches a finger. Vance saw it and chose a different sin. He nodded to his clerk. The clerk darted to the depot door. He slammed the telegraph shut. He yanked the wire from the key. The bell rope moaned again. The square saw the clerk jerk the wire. The square roared. Enough, the sheriff thundered. Vance, stand down. Vance didn't. He pointed at Sloan. Shoot him first. Sloan's muzzle didn't flinch. Try, Besh cursed, trapped between losing face to the crowd and losing men to Vance's stupidity. Then the boy did the one thing no one expected. He stepped forward, empty hands up. Take me. Son, the sheriff began. The boy didn't turn. Trade me for 2 knives. End it. 2 knives stared, stunned. No. Live, the boy said. Mend fence, feed kids. Taza's jaw clenched. You shame us with bravery. Good, the boy said. Let it stick. Vance smiled. Slow. Accepted. Besh's eyes lit with something ugly. And after him... The sheriff raised his Colt a fraction. After him, you get me. The boy walked to the middle of the square. Sun found his face. Blood soaked his sleeve. He lifted his chin. Vance motioned his guards. Cuff him. Two Knives stepped in front. Take me instead. The boy shook his head. No. Sloane shifted, aiming not at Vance, at the thin fuse Besh still held, forgotten flame guttering near his boot. Drop it, Sloane said. Besh blinked. What? A gust woke the ember. It kissed spilled pitch by Vance's coach. Flame crawled up canvas fast as gossip. People screamed. Horses reared. Vance spun, coat catching sparks. My papers! The fire leapt to a second keg. The sheriff's eyes went wide. Get back! The boy grabbed the nearest child and shoved him behind a trough. Down! Pitch began to boil. A seam split. The receiver's coach erupts into fire beside kegs of pitch and a ring of armed men. One breath from an explosion that will decide who walks out of the square alive. Pitch bubbled under the receiver's coach. Canvas hissed, glowing at the seams. The square held one breath too long. Down! The sheriff roared. The boy yanked a child behind the trough. Head low! Doc Finch shoved two elders under the church eave. Crawl! Two Knives grabbed a bucket. Water, now! Vance slapped at sparks on his coat. My papers! Forget paper, the boy snapped. Save lungs. Sloane strode to the coach tongue. He cut the traces with one clean stroke. Horses, go! The team bolted. The wagon lurched, pitched, settled, burning. Besh laughed harsh. Dust comes easy. Taza wheeled on him. Help or leave, Besh sneered. I don't fetch water. The sheriff shoved a barrel over. Line! Hands formed fast. Barkeep, ranch wives, a blacksmith boy with blistered palms. Pass, the boy called. Fast hands. Buckets flew. Water slapped canvas. Steam screamed back. Vance clawed into the wagon box, coat on fire. The folio. The boy grabbed his belt. Out! Vance thrashed. Unhand! The boy hauled with his good arm and dumped him into dust. Breathe, fool! Two Knives slid on knees to the nearest keg. He jammed a wet sack under the rim. Lift! The boy joined him. 3, 2, now! They heaved. The keg rolled, sloshing, away from wheels. Doc Finch shouted, Mind the boil! Pitch frothed, licked the axle, found air. More water, the sheriff barked. Empty, the barkeep yelled back. Then sand, Sloane snapped. Shovel! Kids ran with coal scuttles. Sand poured, muting the hiss. Besh spurred closer, pistol loose. One shot ends the badge. Taza blocked him with his horse. You touch that trigger, you curse us all. Move, Besh said. No, Taza said. The canvas flashed white with heat. A seam split. Fire sheeted down, hungry. The boy stepped into it with a wet blanket. Cover! Steam clawed his face. He didn't break. Two Knives shoved beside him, teeth bared. Push! The blanket sealed. The flame choked, then guttered to angry smoke. Good, Doc Finch croaked. Again, the sheriff kicked another keg clear. Help him. A rancher grabbed the far hoop. Got it. Vance stumbled up, clutching the red-sealed writ, edges charred. Authority restored. Sloane stared at the embering seal. It's smoke. Vance held it higher like a sermon. Still law. The boy didn't even look. We're busy saving your town. A crack snapped from the coach box. Heat warped the crossbar. The roof slumped. Burning folios avalanched out like black snow. Vance screamed, No! The boy stomped a flaming sheet. He peeled it off his boot. He met Vance's eyes. You had your chance to help. Besh saw Vance cry over ash and howled with pleasure. Look at your law. Shut your mouth, the sheriff said. Taza slid from his saddle. He seized a bucket. He passed it down the line. Move! Besh's riders jeered, then coughed. Smoke pushed them back. One reached for water, shame hot as heat. The boy handed him a pail without a word. That small mercy stung more than insult. The rider threw the water true. He threw again. Good, Taza said. A guard reached for Two Knives' collar. Prisoner. Sloane shifted his rifle a hair. Not now. The guard froze. Another crack. The axle pin popped. The coach sagged toward the nearest keg. Brace it, the sheriff yelled. The blacksmith boy jammed a pry bar under the hub. Heavy! The boy wedged his shoulder in. Lift! Two Knives shoved beside him. Push! They groaned as one. The wheel crept a finger. Doc Finch slid a block under it. "Hold, hold!" The wheel settled on the block. The keg rolled free. The crowd cheered and choked. Vance clutched his smoking writ, face grey. "How you assaulted a federal officer?" The sheriff wiped soot from his eyes. "I saved your life." "Assault by grip," Vance insisted, coughing. Doc Finch stared at him. "I can't fix stupid." Besh saw the town's faces turning toward the bucket line, toward the sheriff, toward the boy who stood in fire and didn't run. He felt his hold slipping. He raised his pistol. "Enough!" Taza's hand shot out, iron hard on Besh's wrist. "No more dust!" Besh snarled. "You grow soft." "I grow tired of burying boys," Taza said. Besh ripped free. He wheeled for a new angle. Sloane watched the pistol line. "Sheriff." "I see him," the sheriff said. The boy didn't move. He balanced the last wet blanket on his forearm. "One more cover." Two knives touched his sleeve. "You saved me." "You save us now," the boy said. "Fence, venison, peace." Two knives nodded once. "I will." A gust hit the square. Sparks swarmed like wasps. The last intact keg hissed like a snake. "Back," Doc Finch yelled. "If it goes—" "Not yet," the sheriff said. He lifted his Colt. He aimed not at a man, but at iron. "Don't," the boy warned. "Ricochet." The sheriff lowered a hair. "Then we tip it." They rushed the keg. 4 hands, 6, 10. It rolled toward open dirt. Besh bared teeth and spurred to cut them off. "Mine." Sloane swung his rifle butt into Besh's knee as he passed. Wood thudded flesh. Besh yelped. His shot went wild and killed only air. The keg hit a rut. It stuck. "Again!" the sheriff roared. "Push!" the boy shouted. They heaved. It popped free and rolled toward Vance's coach tongue. Vance gasped. "My—" "Move!" the boy barked. He shoved Vance flat with his boot. The keg kissed the tongue, tilted, and toppled onto open ground. Pitch splashed in a black fan and flared. The worst of it burned away from bodies. A long, terrible sigh left the square. "Hold the line," the sheriff said. "Smother the rest." They did. Smoke thinned. Flames dwindled to angry tongues and then to steam. Besh panted, hate burning hotter than any pitch. "You all think this makes you clean." "Cleaner than you," Doc Finch said. Vance cradled his warped writ. "All of you will answer for this." The boy looked at the scorched seal. "To who?" "Your ash." Vance's jaw trembled. "To Capital." Taza stepped into the center. "Capital can hear us. We live here." Two knives lifted both hands. "I work today." The rancher from before nodded. "At my fence, then my table." Two knives met his eyes. "I'll eat after the post sets." The crowd murmured approval, threads tied. Besh heard those threads and tried to cut them. He jerked his pistol up again, fast now, spite quick as a snake. Sloane's rifle lifted in the same breath. The sheriff's Colt rose with it. The boy moved before both. He stepped into Besh's line and opened his palms. "Enough." "Move, boy," Besh hissed. "No," the boy said. "You finish me. You kill this piece." "I kill you," Besh said. "Then every man here knows your name," the boy said. "Not as strong, as small." The square went silent. The insult was gentle. It hit like a hammer. Taza's voice came low. "Choose, Besh." Besh's finger twitched on the trigger. A bell sound, broken rope on wood, groaned again. Every face turned just an inch. Besh glanced at the church door. Sloane fired. The pistol flew from Besh's hand. Fingers burst red. He screamed, high and ugly. His horse reared and dumped him in dust. Riders flinched. Some reached for reins. Some reached for honor. Vance seized the sliver. He pointed at Sloane, frantic. "Arrest him! Murder!" "No murder," Doc Finch said. "A hand." "Receiver custody now," Vance shouted. "No," the sheriff said. He held the wire strip high. "Noon is mine." "Your wire is cut," Vance snapped. "Witness isn't," the boy said. He swept his arm across the faces. "All of them." The crowd lifted their heads. Not one looked away. Besh rolled to a knee. He cradled his ruined hand. Hate trembled in him like fever. "You'll pay." "Work first," Taza said. He looked older suddenly. "Then talk." Sirens of another age would have wailed. Here, only wind answered. Then, hoofbeats, hard. Fresh, a dust line cut the horizon from the flooded crossing. A long wagon, 8 riders, a coat with a white collar, and a small iron-mouthed cart dragged on skids. "Judge?" the sheriff breathed. Doc Finch squinted. "Or a traveling gallows." The boy stepped forward despite blood and smoke. "Let them come." The wagon crested the rise. The man on the bench stood, coat flapping, papers strapped in oilskin, a marshal's star bright as noon. "Court!" he shouted. "Court rides now!" Behind him, the iron-mouthed cart unshrouded as they jolted over a rut. Not a gallows, a field gun, polished, primed. It swung toward the square as the team wheeled. The field gun settled like a hungry jaw. Its barrel stared straight into the square. Men flinched back. Women pulled children under shawls. The marshal on the wagon bench lifted his hand. "Stand!" The riders reined. Dust curled. The team snorted. The sheriff called out, voice steady. "Marshal Reed." The marshal's gaze swept the smoke, the scorched coach, the bleeding boy. "Law looks sick here." The boy braced his knees. "Law tried to burn us." Reed's eyes narrowed. "Explain." Vance stepped forward, soot on his collar, but smile intact. "This town obstructed federal writ. My papers—" "Burned," the boy said. Reed's eyes cut to him. "Your name?" "James Holt," the boy said. "Sheriff's son." Murmurs rippled. Reed nodded once. "Stand tall, Holt." He faced the sheriff. "Explain why my court finds smoke instead of order." The sheriff answered flat. "Receiver shot at a prisoner. Apache pride through torches. My town put out fires while others fanned them." Reed glanced at 2 knives. "That the prisoner?" "Yes," the sheriff said. "Alive, ready to work his debt." "Work?" Reed asked. The boy lifted his bandaged arm. "Fence posts, meat shared, peace kept." Reed studied him. "And who judged that?" "I did," the boy said. "Before the crowd." "They watched?" Lozen's voice carried from the back. "We all did." Murmurs agreed. A ranch wife shouted, "True." Vance's smile cracked. "This is irregular." Reed's stare pinned him. "Irregular is smoke on my road." "My authority," Vance began. "Your authority ends when your wagon burns," Reed said. The field gun's crew shifted. Reed raised a hand. "Safe the peace." They stepped back, muttering. Besh staggered upright, cradling his ruined hand. "This boy mocked me before all. He owes dust." Reed eyed him. "Your name?" "Besh," he spat. "Your elder?" Reed asked. Taza stepped forward, shoulders heavy. "I speak." "Then speak sense," Reed said. Taza bowed his head. "Fence cut was hunger, not war. My nephew's pride nearly made it so. The boy bled for peace. That is truth." Reed nodded slow. "Truth sounds better than writ." The boy swayed but didn't sit. "I'll mend with him. Let the crowd see us work side by side." Reed's gaze sharpened. "You'd labor with the man who dragged you?" "Yes," the boy said, "so no one else is dragged." The sheriff's jaw clenched. He whispered, "Son." The boy met his eye. "If I don't, he wins." Reed raised his voice. "Court hears this. Prisoner works fence, eats bread, no rope. Town accepts." "Aye," voices answered. "Apache accepts?" Reed asked. Taza bowed. "We accept," Besh snarled. "I don't." "Your hand already judged you," Reed said. Besh's eyes burned, but he stayed silent. Reed turned to Vance. "Receiver accepts." Vance clutched his ruined writ. "Capital will not—" "Capital isn't here," Reed cut him off. "Court is." Applause cracked, not loud but sharp. Reed faced the sheriff. "Your badge stands until noon tomorrow. Then the circuit court reviews. Don't waste it." The sheriff touched his hat brim. "I won't." The boy exhaled, knees buckling. The sheriff caught him under the arm. "Sit, son." "I can stand," the boy said, teeth clenched. "You already did," the sheriff said. Reed gestured. The field gun crew limbered the piece. Horses pawed, dust rose. "Court adjourns. Keep your town." The wagon rolled out, iron mouth turning away. Relief swept like rain. People wept, laughed, hugged. Doc Finch pressed a new cloth to the boy's arm. "Still bleeding?" "Still alive," the boy said. Two Knives stepped close, awkward. He held out the tin cup. "Drink." The boy sipped. "Thanks." "You bled for me," Two Knives said. "We bled for the town," the boy answered. Lozen's eyes met his. "Names carry, yours will." The boy shrugged, tired. "I just didn't want dust." "That's enough," she said. Besh glared from the edge, lips twisted. He mouthed a word only the boy saw. "Tomorrow." The boy whispered back, "We'll see." The sheriff tightened his grip on his son's shoulder. "You're stubborn as your mother." The boy smiled, faint. "Good." Above them, the bell rope creaked in the morning wind. Not a true bell, but enough. The town had heard, the law had heard, and for the first time, so had the dust. The marshal's ruling spares the town. For now. But with Vance humiliated and Besh vowing revenge, father and son know peace will last only until the next sunrise. By noon, the wind carried cedar and dust. Fence wire sang a thin, tired note. The boy shouldered a post. "Set here." Two Knives knelt, palms scarred. "Level?" "True," the boy said. "Hold steady." Taza watched from his pony, quiet as rock. "Pace yourselves." "We're good," the boy answered. He glanced at Two Knives' palm. "That split again." "A little," Two Knives said. "Sit," the boy said. "Let me clean it." Two Knives frowned. "Work first." "Care first," the boy said. He poured carbolic. "Fast. Bite this." Two Knives bit leather and didn't make a sound. The boy wrapped the hand neat. "You'll pull again in an hour." Taza snorted soft. "He ties like a grandmother." "Best kind," the boy said. Hoofbeats on the road. The sheriff rode up, dust on his hat brim, eyes scanning the ridges. "Any sign?" "Besh watched at dawn," Taza said, then melted. "He'll curdle again by dusk," the sheriff said. The boy tested the line. Tight. Two Knives nodded. "Holds." The boy handed him jerky. "Eat." "You?" "Later," the boy lied. A telegraph runner cantered over the rise, cap backward, face red. "Wire." The sheriff held out a hand. "Read." The boy wiped his palms, listening. "From Capitol Clerk," the runner read. "Receiver Vance petitions emergency injunction, seeks custody of Two Knives and James Holt for contempt. Initial grant pending marshal review." "Pending," the sheriff repeated. "Not granted." "Clerk's red seal," the runner said. The sheriff's jaw moved once. Papers still wet. Two Knives looked at the boy. "They call you criminal for helping me." "They call me loud," the boy said. "I can live with loud." Sloan stepped from mesquite, ghost quiet, rifle on his shoulder. "Spotted smoke north. Vance's clerk. 2 riders." "Let them ride," Taza said. "They won't stop at ink," Sloan answered. The boy lifted the next post. "We keep mending." The sheriff blocked him with a palm. "Eat first." "I'm fine," the boy said. "You're stubborn," the sheriff said. He broke a biscuit in half and shoved one piece into his son's hand. "Chew." The boy chewed. He hated how good it tasted. A whistle on the wind, not a bird. 3 short, 1 long. Taza turned his head. "Besh's call." The sheriff set his hat lower. "Get to cover." Before they could move, 3 riders trotted into view, hands open, coats dusty. No war paint, no torches. The middle one, a younger man with a crooked braid, lifted a palm. "Parley." Taza's face flattened. "Your blood." "Cousin," the youth said. "Kose." Taza nodded once. "Speak." Kose slid from his saddle. He looked at the boy's bandage and then at the straight line of wire. "You did that with him." He tipped his chin at Two Knives. "We did," the boy said. Kose's mouth twisted. "Besh says you humiliated him." "I kept children from burning," the boy said. "If that shames him, let it." Kose's eyes flicked to Sloan's rifle, to the sheriff's hand, to Taza's stare. He sighed. "Besh wants dust. Taza wants bread. I brought a third thing." He pulled a folded paper. "Vance's clerk gave me this." The sheriff took it. Red ribbon, black ink. "Emergency custody at sundown," the sheriff read. "Prisoner and obstructing party to be delivered to receiver agent at depot platform. Failure constitutes felony hindrance. Pretty words, Sloane said. Ugly intent, Taza said. Kosei spread his hands. I do not carry rope. What do you carry? The boy asked. Warning, Kosei said. Besh will use the paper to start shooting. Two Knives' jaw went iron. He uses anything. Then use something back, the sheriff said. Witness. He looked at the boy. We'll meet the paper in the open, fence line, white rock, everyone watching. Taza nodded. Good. Sun cuts lies. Kosei swung up. I tell them. You make it true. He rode off, dust low. The boy lifted the post again. We've got an hour. 40 minutes, Sloane said. He sniffed. Dust coming. They worked faster. Post, rock, tamp, tie. The boy's hands bled through cloth. He didn't stop. Two Knives said, Trade me tools. The boy shook his head. You already bled. So did you, Two Knives said. Equal is the point, the boy answered. A child's laugh tinkled from the far pasture, two little ones chasing a stray calf. The boy smiled despite everything. Go on, run. Taza pointed. Bring them in. The sheriff whistled sharp. The children looked up, saw his hand and ran for the yard. They reached the white rock as shadows lengthened. Townfolk gathered, wary circle, ranch wives, blacksmith boy, Doc Finch, even the barkeep with his bad ankle. Vance arrived from the North Road, coat replaced, writ fresh, clerk at his elbow. His smile came on like a lantern that didn't light anyone else. Evening? The sheriff stood tall. You have the clerk. I have the wire. He lifted the morning strip. Noon tomorrow, marshal review. Son makes new orders, Vance said, pleasant. He raised the red seal. Sundown delivery. Besh rode in from the east, hand bandaged, eyes bright with old hate. Riders fanned behind him. Torches slept in their hands, not yet needed. Taza took his place between circles. We talk first. The boy stepped forward with Two Knives at his side. We stand where we worked. Cute, Vance said. Shackles, please. No, the sheriff said. Kosei edged his horse near Besh. Cousin, here first. Besh's lip curled. I've heard enough. Dust. The boy lifted both palms. Before you start a war, watch this. He walked to the fence post they'd just set. He put his bleeding hand on the fresh wire. Two men did this together. That's what the town saw. Murmurs. A rancher nodded. We saw it. Vance's smile thinned. Pretty theater. He nodded to his clerk. Serve the order. The clerk stepped toward the boy and Two Knives. Sloane's rifle moved a hair. Careful. I'm in my lane, the clerk said. A hawk screamed overhead. The boy's head snapped up, not for the hawk, for the hiss. He heard it under everything, a tiny, eager snake. Two Knives heard it too. What is... Hush, the boy said. He crouched by the post. He brushed sand away with 2 fingers. A fuse popped, spitting sparks. It ran under the set rock toward a glob of pitch packed around the post base. Fire! He barked. He slapped at the fuse. It nipped his palm and kept eating. Besh smiled like a man who'd found his favorite card. Dust! Taza wheeled. Who lit that? Besh's face was innocence carved ugly. Wind! The sheriff kicked dirt. Not enough. Water! Empty! Someone yelled. Sloane ripped a canteen from a rider's horn without asking, and poured. The fuse hissed lower, then found dry string again and raced. Cut! Sloane snapped. The boy reached for his belt knife and found nothing. He'd left it by the last post. He looked at Two Knives. Two Knives shoved his own knife into the boy's hand. Quick! The boy slid the blade under the fuse and lifted. Hold it off the pitch, he said. Two Knives cupped his bandaged palm under the live line. Skin to fire. He didn't flinch. Cut! The boy sliced. Sparks spat. The short length died. The rest kept hissing toward the base. Second line, the boy said. He dug harder. More string came up, coated in dirt and hate. Vance stepped back, boots clean. This assembly is unsafe, he announced to no one who cared. Help, the sheriff snarled. Besh edged his horse closer, amused. Law versus rope, round 2. The boy found the second fuse where it dove under the stone. "It's buried." "Lift," the sheriff said. They heaved at the set post. It refused. The rock held like a stubborn heart. Kose slid from his saddle, jaw tight. "Move." He jammed his knife into the seam, pried. The rock shifted. A breath. The fuse hissed louder. Pitch bubbled around the base, waking. "Cut now," Two Knives said. "I can't see it," the boy said. "Feel it," Taza said. The boy closed his eyes. He let the sound tell him where the thread lay. He slid the knife, blind. Sparks kissed steel. He pressed slow, twang, silence. Then a new hiss from deeper under the rock, urgent, hidden. Besh's smile widened. 3 lines. "Back!" the sheriff shouted. "Everyone!" People stumbled. The circle broke. The boy didn't move. "James!" the sheriff barked. The boy dug his fingers under the rock. "Help me turn it." Two Knives dropped to his knees. "On 3, he said. 1, 2, now!" They rolled the stone enough to bear the nest. 3 fuses, braided. The third almost gone. Fire about to kiss the pitch. The boy's knife flashed. Too late. The flame leapt. The pitch coughed a gout of black fire up the post. The world leaned in. The hidden third fuse catches. The post erupts in black flame at the fence line with the town, the receiver, and Besh's riders all watching. One breath to smother it, or watch everything turn to dust. Black fire climbed the post. "Blankets," the sheriff barked. "Wet." "Water's gone," someone cried. "Sand then," Sloan snapped. Two Knives tore his own shirt, soaked it with spit and the last drips from a canteen. "Cover high." The boy shoved his bandaged arm into heat. "Low sweep." "It'll eat you," Doc Finch warned. "Let it taste cloth first," the boy said. Kose hacked at the smoking pitch with his knife. "Cut the sap away." Taza slid off his pony and scooped dirt with both hands. "Throw!" They smothered and scraped. Steam clawed cheeks. The flame shrank, hissed, tried to climb again. Vance backed 2 steps, voice neat. "Stand clear. I'll declare an unsafe assembly." "Declare a bucket," the sheriff shot back. Sloan yanked a saddle blanket, plunged it in a horse trough, and slammed it against the blaze. "Hold." Two Knives pressed his forearms to the blanket edges. Push the breath out. He didn't flinch when pitch spat. The boy leaned in harder. Again. The fire coughed. Then guttered. Then died to a mean ribbon of smoke. Silence cracked. Then the square breathed. Doc Finch grabbed the boy's wrist. "Burns." "Later," the boy said. "Check him." He nodded at Two Knives' raw forearms. Finch turned, blinked, then grunted. "You're both fools. Good ones." The sheriff raked the dirt smooth with his boot and stared at the braided fuses. "Who buried these?" Besh smiled like a sore tooth. "Wind." Taza's gaze cut him. "Wind doesn't tie knots." Kose looked at his cousin. "Say you didn't." Besh said nothing. His jaw said everything. Vance lifted his writ like a priest. "Enough rustic theater, sundown delivery. Sheriff, hand them over." The sheriff's badge gleamed dull. "Marshal Reed gave me till noon tomorrow." "Supplemental order overrides," Vance sang. He tapped the seal. "See?" Sloan eyed the bright ribbon. "That's fresh as your coat." "Fresh law is still law," Vance said. The boy wiped soot from his mouth. "Law that hides behind fire isn't—" A ranch wife stepped forward, palm out, fingers black with pitch. "We saw him burn with us." She pointed to the boy. "He's not a prisoner." Murmurs joined. A steady hum. Besh raised his good hand. "Crowds talk loud. Dust talks loudest." "Not today," Taza said. Kose nudged his horse between circles. "Cousin, end it." "End what?" Besh sneered. "Pride or rope?" The sheriff slid one boot forward, weight low. "You point a gun at my town again, you'll eat it." Vance's smile thinned. "Threats noted. Clark, proceed." His clerk marched toward Two Knives with bright cuffs. Sloan's rifle eased an inch. "Don't—" "I'm authorized," the clerk said. "Authorized to breathe," Sloan replied. "Keep it—" "Stop." The boy stepped between the cuffs and Two Knives. "You want someone? Take me." "James," the sheriff warned. The boy didn't blink. "Trade still stands. Two Knives works. I answer to Reed at noon." "Charming," Vance said. Rejected, Doc Finch murmured. He only accepts what bleeds you. The wind shifted. Smoke blew into Besh's riders. They coughed. One dropped his torch and stomped it out on instinct. Shame flushed his face. He didn't pick it up again. Taza saw it. Good. Remember your feet. He raised his voice. Here terms. Fence mended by the ones who tore it. Meat shared. No rope. Noon tomorrow for any man who still wants dust. Kosei lifted his chin. I stand with that. Two of Besh's riders looked at each other, uneasy. One slid his torch into a puddle. Besh's eyes went narrow and bright. Traitors. No, Kosei said. Tired. Vance clapped. Once. Theater again. The boy turned to him. You tried to steal a man in smoke. You shot at him in the dark. Now you hide under ribbon. We'll meet you in sun. Very noble, Vance said. Very naive. A thin whistle bled into the breeze. The sheriff's head turned. Hear that? Kosei frowned. Wind through wire. Sloane cocked his head. No. Metal. Far east. Vance's smile returned. Slick. On time. What did you call? The sheriff asked. Custody, Vance said, delighted. By rail. The whistle swelled. A long iron cry rolling up the draw. The white eye of a headlamp brushed the far cottonwoods, then blinked out behind a cut, then burned again closer. The town stiffened. Train, someone whispered. At sundown, Vance said. He patted his new writ. With deputies who don't miss. Taza's jaw set. You bring guns on tracks into a fence line. Over food. Over law, Vance said. The boy took the fence post with his burned palm and squeezed to stop the shake. Then we stand in the open. On your knees would be easier, Vance offered. Stand, the boy repeated. The headlamp washed the far bend with ghost daylight. The ground trembled, iron whispered on iron. The sheriff spoke low, only to his son. We can run. No, the boy said. Witness. Witness will bury you, the sheriff said. Better witness than disappeared, the boy said. Kosei leaned toward Taza. We break the track. Too late, Taza said. And wrong, Besh grinned, teeth bright. Dust on rails looks same as dust in church. Pretty. Back your men off the ties, the sheriff called. You stand near that iron, you die first. Threats again, Vance hummed. Physics, Sloane said. The train wailed at the crossing east of the depot and dumped steam. It slowed but didn't stop. A short consist. One iron horse, one boxcar, one passenger coach painted a receiver green too clean for this county. Deputies, Doc Finch said, hollow. Vance tugged his cuff straight. And a proper jail with wheels. The sheriff's voice carried, town, form a line, no rifles raised, hands open. People moved, palms up, eyes forward, fear steady, not wild. Taza swung his pony to face the track. Make them step into our stair. Kosei slid beside him. With you. Besh snorted and kept his mount in the scrub. Close. Watching. Waiting for the smallest flame. The train squealed harder, then hissed to a crawl along the far fence. The headlamp found faces and turned them to paper. A tall man stepped onto the passenger coach's platform. Black coat. Tin star, hat brim curled just so. He held a leather folio under his arm and a long envelope in his hand, wax red as a wound. Depot platform is empty. Receiver, he called. His voice cut like a clean knife. So we serve at the fence. Vance brightened. Excellent timing, deputy. The man didn't look at Vance. His eyes raked the boy, the sheriff, two knives, the charred post, the crowd with ashes on their mouths. He cracked the seal with one thumb. The sheriff's hand settled on his son's back. Whatever he says, breathe. The deputy read loud, by order of Judge Halley, emergency writ. Receiver to assume custody of 2 knives and 1 James Holt immediately. Marshal Reed's postponement is vacated pending review. Use necessary force. Groans and curses rolled. Doc Finch spat, missed, and spat again just to feel it. The boy's face didn't change. Name? He asked. The deputy looked up. Dunn. He flipped the envelope. Deputy Dunn. Vance beamed. Dunn. Do your job. Dunn took his time folding the paper. He tucked it away. He looked again at the burned post, the braided fuses. the shiver in the town's hands that had smothered flame anyway. "Receiver fired on a prisoner last night," Dunn asked the air. "Yes," the boy said. "We put that fire out, too." "Who lit this?" Dunn toe-tapped the dead fuses. "Wind," Besh said. "Sweet." Dunn's eyes slid past him and didn't stick. He watched Taza, then two knives, then the boy's bandaged arm, then the sheriff's jaw. He sighed, as if something in him had hoped to be lazier today. "All right, Sheriff, I'll take them." "No," the sheriff said, not without a hearing. "You see the crowd." "I see it," Dunn said. He nodded at Vance's crisp cuffs. "I see that too." Vance held his wrists out, thrilled. "The state speaks." "The state is loud," Dunn said. "Not always right." Vance blinked. "Excuse me." "Not talking to you," Dunn said. Besh laughed. "Then talk to dust." Dunn rubbed a thumb across the paper's red smear. "We can do this two ways." "Name them," the sheriff said. "Bad," Dunn said. "And worse." "Try good," the boy said. "Good takes time," Dunn answered. He pointed two fingers, one at two knives, one at the boy. "You ride in the coach, you stand before Hallie in the morning. Nobody chains you across town." Vance sputtered. "Absolutely not. Shackles now." Dunn didn't turn. "You want this crowd to watch irons click? You want to see what that makes?" The headlamp washed faces again. No one blinked. Taza's voice was dry sand. "Crowds remember." Dunn weighed the heat. He weighed Vance's smile. He weighed the ash on the boy's lips. "Or," he said, "we try worse." "What's worse?" Doc Finch asked. Dunn jerked his chin at the boxcar. 24 guards inside. Step off with chains and batons. Drag them. Maybe drag the sheriff, too. Maybe you, old man, for spitting. Vance clapped softly. "At last. Competence." "Shut up," Dunn said. He lifted two fingers again, not to point, to signal. The boxcar latch clanked. Bolts slid. A door rolled 6 inches, shadows massed behind it. "Decision time," Dunn said. The boy squeezed the fence post until his palm hurt. He breathed once. "I'll ride," he said. "No," the sheriff and Taza said together. "Trade me for peace," the boy said. Again. Dunn met his eyes. "You're not brave. You're stubborn." "Both," the boy said. Dunn opened his mouth to answer. The headlamp flickered. The iron horse hiccuped. Steam coughed wrong, and from the north cut, a second lamp flared alive where no rail should carry light. A handcar piled with men in green coats, pushing hard, a keg sloshing in its belly, and a fuse already guttering in the wind. The second lamp bobbed wild, too fast and too bright. Men leaned into the handles of a handcar. A keg rattled between their boots, fuse hissing. "Pitch again," the sheriff breathed. "Not ours," Sloan said. "Railroads," Dunn swore under his breath. "Idiots!" Vance clapped once and delighted. "See? Reinforcements!" The boy stepped forward, voice raw. "They'll blow the rail. They'll kill everyone on it." The sheriff barked at Dunn. "Wave them off!" Dunn cupped his hands. "Hold the fuse!" The green-coated men didn't hear, or didn't care. They pushed harder, sweat shining in headlamp glare. Taza cursed low. "Blind pride rides that cart." The handcar screamed closer, iron rattling like teeth. Two knives grabbed the boy's burned wrist. "Run!" "No," the boy said. "Stop it!" He bolted to the track, boots pounding dirt. "James!" the sheriff roared. Sloan shouldered his rifle. "I'll shoot the keg." "You'll kill him too," Doc Finch snapped. The boy threw himself onto the ballast stones, arms braced. He heaved his whole weight against a lever pin. "Release!" The handcar thundered. The fuse spat sparks. "James!" The sheriff again, his voice broke. The pin gave a cry like bone. The rail switch jumped. The handcar wheels screamed as they kissed the wrong iron. The whole contraption tipped into ditch. Men flew. The keg tumbled end over end. The fuse hissed shorter. The boy rolled after it, clawed the dirt, palms shredded. He pinned the keg with his back. "Bucket!" No bucket, no water, only his coat. He ripped it off, slammed it over the fuse, smothering sparks with wool and blood. Silence. Then the crowd exhaled in one ragged gust. The sheriff sprinted, hauled his son clear, clutched him by both shoulders. "Fool!" The boy gasped, grinning through blood. "Smart fool." Two knives staggered up, grabbed the keg, and heaved it into the trough. Pitch hissed, drowned. Taza faced the ditch, voice heavy. "Who sent you?" One of the greencoats spat mud. "Receiver pays, fire makes order." The square erupted in shouts. Even Besh's riders muttered, uneasy. Dunn stepped down from the coach, face dark. "Vance, you called them?" Vance's smile twitched. "A contingency." Dunn struck him once, flat across the jaw. Vance sprawled in dust. "That's assault," he sputtered. "That's mercy," Dunn said. The sheriff still held his son tight. "You breathing?" The boy wheezed. "Barely." "Good," the sheriff said. He let go slow, like a man scared of his own hands. Doc Finch bound fresh cloth over shredded palms. "You'll never hold a pen neat again." "Don't need neat," the boy said. "Need strong." Lozen's voice carried from the back. "The boy stands while men with seals fall. Remember that." Murmurs spread. Approval, anger, fear. The crowd bent like grass, but bent toward the boy. Besh felt it. His teeth showed. "You cheer because he hugs barrels." "He's still dust." The boy faced him, calm despite shaking. "Dust we all share. Difference is whether we leave it clean or foul." Even Kosa's lips twitched at that. Dunn looked to the crowd. "Judge Halley will see this. Every word, every torch, every fuse." "Judge reads paper," Vance snapped. His lip bled. "Not dirt." "Paper burned," Sloan said. The sheriff raised his voice. "You all saw it. Receiver set fire on his own rails. My boy stopped it." "Witness is heavier than wax." "Yes," someone shouted. "We saw." A chorus built. "We saw. We saw." The sound rattled windows. Vance shrank, smile brittle. Dunn rubbed his jaw. "All right. New terms. 2 knives rides with me tomorrow under guard. Holt boy too, but—" He raised his hand to the crowd. "Unshackled. Walkers. Not dragged." The sheriff's teeth clenched. "If he's harmed—" "He won't be," Dunn said. "Not with this many eyes." Taza's gaze bored into Dunn. "Crowds forget. Paper forgets faster." Dunn surprised him. "Not if the boy keeps shouting." The boy flexed his ruined palms. "I'll shout." The sheriff muttered, "Too much." "Not enough," the boy said. Besh's laugh cut the moment. "So proud, so clean. Tomorrow you ride into their mouth and never crawl back." "Maybe," the boy said, "but tonight we still breathe." That answer silenced even Besh for a heartbeat. The sheriff guided his son back to the line. The keg hissed faint in the trough. Smoke drifted lazy. Dunn faced Vance. "You'll ride east alone. No coach, no guards. Not after this." "You can't—" Vance began. "I just did," Dunn said. The crowd laughed, quick and sharp. Vance staggered, dust on his cuffs, dignity gone. The boy sagged onto a fence rail. His father caught him again. "Sit before you fall." "I'm fine," the boy said. "You're mine," the sheriff said. The boy smiled. Faint. "Both?" The sun slid lower. Shadows stretched. Peace was thin, brittle, but real for a breath. Then a horn blew from the ridge. Not Hale's, not Taza's, not Vance's. A stranger's note. Long, cold. Every head turned. Besh grinned wide. Not mine, not his. New teeth. On the horizon, dust rose in a fresh column. Riders, many. Their banners cut red against the fading sky. Taza's hand tightened on his rein. Not tribes, not rail. Sloan's eye narrowed. "Mercenaries." "Who pays?" the sheriff asked. The boy's stomach sank. He knew, everyone did. Vance found his smile again, cracked but alive. Capital always has another card. As night falls, a new army of mercenaries rides under red banners, sent not by tribe or law but by money. The town, the sheriff, and his son must face an enemy that fights only for coin, not cause. Red banners crested the rise. Hooves beat a drumline. Steel glinted like teeth. Doc Finch tightened fresh cloth around the boy's palms. "Don't flex." "I have to," the boy said. "They're here." The sheriff eased a canteen to his son's mouth. "Sip." The boy drank, eyes never leaving the ridge. "Thanks." 2 knives shifted closer, quiet. "Stand with you." "Side by side," the boy said. Sloan shaded his eyes. "Hired blades. Look at the tack, company marks." Taza's mouth thinned. They rent courage. Kosei spat dust. They rent bullets. The column fanned into the white rock flat. Front man wore a black frock coat over chain, beard trimmed like a ledger. A brass whistle hung at his throat. Behind him, a short wagon rattled, iron-ribbed, canvas cuffed, a crank gun's muzzle peaking like a snout. Vance smoothed his ruined collar, smile stitched back on. Captain Rigg. Finally. Rigg didn't look at him. He surveyed the burned coach, the wet kegs, the crowd with ash on their faces. Then the boy's bandages. Client says riot. Client lies, the sheriff said. Client pays, Rigg replied. Dunn stepped to the fence line. Deputy U.S. Marshal. Court tomorrow. No chains tonight. Rigg's eyes flicked to Dunn's star, then to the field gun tracks and then back. Paper here says immediate custody. He tapped a leather tube. Duplicated. Paper burned your last wagon, Sloane said. Rigg kept his temper neat. I don't burn easy. He raised 2 fingers. The line flowed, precise. 10 riders took the east lane, 10 the west. The wagon with the crank gun jerked to the center and coughed a test, just a metallic click, enough to make mothers pull children tighter. The boy stepped forward, palms up. Name your terms. Rigg smiled without warmth. 2 bodies, Holt and 2 knives. Receiver signature here. He tapped the tube again. Or we sweep the square, break the crowd, clean the street. Clean, Taza repeated, bitter. With what water? Blood, Kosei said. Doc Finch muttered, God save us from men who say clean. The boy looked past Rigg. A bay mare in the Merc line danced, sweating, shoe twisted. He moved toward it without thinking. Stop, a Merc snarled. Carbine up. Your horse is laming, the boy said. She'll founder. Back away, the Merc barked. The boy held out his bandaged hands. Let me fix it, or you shoot your own mount out from under you. A pause. Rigg watched, measuring. He flicked 2 fingers. Shoe. The Merc grudged space. The boy crouched. Quick. He wedged a flat stone, straightened the shoe with 3 easy taps from Sloane's field hammer, which appeared like magic and vanished again. He patted the mare's neck. There. The mare settled. The Merc's eyes flicked, confused, then not. He lowered his carbine a finger. Care done. Threat waited. Terms, Rigg said again. The sheriff raised his voice so even the back row heard. Work for work. Fence for fence. Court tomorrow. No irons tonight. Vance laughed, high and wrong. Captain, shoot once over their heads. They'll fold. Dunn's jaw went hard. Don't fire that gun. Rigg's smile didn't move. We don't fire to scare. Then fire to what? The boy asked. To end, Rigg said. A low hiss. Kegs, no. Steam from the iron horse by the fence, cooling. A dog barked sharp, then shut itself. Even wind seemed to crouch. Taza rode his pony between the lines. Look at faces, not papers. Men with soot, women with buckets, children with no sleep. You shoot them. Your pay buys you a rope. Rigg's mouth barely twitched. I've been paid to hang. Never been paid to be hung. Try it, Kosei said. New sport. Vance lifted the fresh writ like a sacrament. Authority. Sloane plucked a fleck of ash from the ribbon with 2 fingers. Your seal still smokes. Rigg unrolled the tube. Neat signatures. Halley's red smear. He didn't flash it to the crowd. He let Dunn see. Dunn scanned, grim. Real enough. Rigg's whistle touched his lip. Then do your job, Marshal. I am, Dunn said. He turned so everyone could hear. Halley wants bodies. I want witnesses. We move in quiet. Holt rides front seat. 2 knives rides with me. No irons, no batons, no man touched in this square. Vance hissed. Outrageous. Rigg's gaze weighed the crowd again. Acceptable? Besh barked a laugh from the scrub. Soft. Rigg glanced at him once. Not hired. Besh bristled, stung. I don't hire. I take. Not from me, Rigg said, bored. The boy met his father's eyes. If I ride, the town lives. The sheriff's throat worked. You ride? I ride? Not your writ, Dunn said. My son, the sheriff said. Rigg shrugged. Bring him. One more seat to watch. 2 knives touched the boy's elbow. You don't owe me this. I owe the fence, the boy said. We keep fixing what men break. Rig lifted his hand. The wagon gun crew stretched, casual, hands on the crank, testing gears. Just a lazy tick. Town flinched anyway. Doc Finch pressed a packet into the boy's pocket. Sugar for the shock. And a note for Reed. Give it if I'm dead. You won't be, the boy said. Everyone says that, Finch said. Until someone is... Sloan tied a spare canteen to the coach step. You drop it. I pick it up. Taza gripped the boy's shoulder. Stand tall tomorrow. Speak plain. Hallie listens to plain more than pretty. Cose's jaw jumped. If paper shuts ears, we open tracks. Rig's whistle rose halfway. Bored. Dunn set his boot on the coach step. He looked at the boy. I said unshackled. I meant it. The boy placed a foot. The sheriff's hand steadied him. 2 knives climbed beside Dunn. Vance buzzed toward the door like a fly near syrup. Back, Rig told Vance. You ride rear. Rear, Rig said. Softer. It carried harder. The crowd parted. No one cheered. No one begged. They watched with their chins in their hands and the day on their shoulders. The boy turned at the door. He raised his voice, raw. If I don't come back, keep mending. Don't say that, the sheriff said. I have to, the boy said. So they know. The ranch wife, who'd handed 2 knives a biscuit, lifted another from her apron and stuffed it into the boy's coat. For the road, he swallowed. Thank you. Dunn swung up. Driver. The iron horse answered with a cough. Steam fluttered flags. The coach rocked. Rig lifted his hand. The line tightened reins. The crank gun crew rolled the barrel skyward and spun it once, dry, like a man cracking knuckles at a dinner prayer. Captain, one of his mercs called. You see that? What? Rig said. Sloan saw first, his rifle angled. North fence. Dust. Taza turned. Besh? Cose's face drained. No, not ours. A knot of riders broke from Juniper, not under banners, not under law. 5, then 10. Bad saddles. Worse eyes. Vance shrilled, Can more support? Rig drew his pistol, annoyed now. Not mine either. The newcomers didn't slow. They angled straight at the crank gun wagon. One stood on his stirrups and hurled a bottle with a rag tail. Fire bloomed mid-air. Down! Dunn roared. The bottle burst on the wagon's shield. Flame crawled like hungry ivy. Cover! Rig snapped. Crewmen scrambled. One slipped. The crank spun a quarter. The gun chattered once. 3 ugly barks, and stitched the church's eave, wood exploding. People screamed and bowed. The boy flinched back into the coach, heart tearing. Stop them! Dunn shoved him behind the doorframe. Stay! The sheriff sprang toward the wagon, colt up, but held his fire. Too many bodies, too much metal. Sloan sprinted low and slammed a soaked tarp from the trough over the gun's face. Hold it! 2 knives was already off the step, jamming a boot against a burning spoke. Push! Rig cursed at his own crew. Sand! Sand! Doc Finch hurled a bucket. It splashed useless. The merc with the fixed mare kicked the burning ragtail off the shield with his heel, face twisted, then grabbed a sack and smothered. The flare died. Smoke curled. The crank froze. Rig's eyes went ice. He lifted his pistol and shot the nearest raider off his horse. The rest veered and scattered. Not brave, only loud. Vance tried to seize the moment anyway. He jabbed a finger at Dunn. This proves you start fires and attract flies, Dunn snapped. The sheriff came up breathing like a bear. Enough. He looked at Rig. You saw who put out your gun. Rig nodded once. I saw. Then decide, the boy called from the coach step. Do you haul men who saved your pay? Or the one who keeps lighting fuses? Everyone looked at Vance. Vance's smile cracked down the middle. Captain. Rear, Rig repeated, bored and deadly. Vance shut his mouth. Dunn slapped the coach wall twice. We roll. The driver cracked the lines. The iron horse snorted and eased. Besh watched from scrub, hand-wrapped, eyes like nails. He whispered, Tomorrow, to no one who needed reminding. The coach creaked past the fence line. Crowd followed with their eyes, not their feet. A wind got up. The bell rope at the church door groaned like a ghost, making notes for a ledger. The boy leaned out. Dad! The sheriff's face didn't move. Breathe. The boy nodded, breathing. Rig raised his hand for the wagon crew. "Test." "Don't," Dunn said. Rig held the boy's stare a long beat. He lowered his hand. A merc at the tail popped his carbine lever anyway, young and stupid. Click. No round. He looked up, embarrassed. For a second, everything actually held. Then a new sound rolled from the east, flat and wrong, like someone ripping canvas across iron. Not hooves, not steam. Sloane's head snapped. Gatling. He didn't finish. From behind the cottonwoods, a second crank gun, painted green, receiver crude, swung into the open and caught the square broadside. The loader slammed a belt. The gunner grinned. Rig spun, shocked. Dunn cursed and reached. The sheriff planted beside his son, elbows high, palms out, and the green gun's handle began to turn. The green gun's crank twitched. "Down!" the sheriff barked. He threw an arm across his son's chest. Dunn raised both palms. "Cease fire! Civilian square!" Vance smiled thin. "Sweep them." "Don't," Rig snapped. The gunner grinned anyway and hauled the handle a half turn. Sloane fired. One shot. Metal pinged. The feed belt hopped, then seated again. "Jam it!" Doc Finch shouted. "Steam!" the boy yelled. "Driver, blow off!" Dunn spun. "You heard him." The engineer yanked the blowdown. White wrath exploded from the iron horse, a boiling sheet. The square vanished in cloud. "Stay low," the sheriff ordered. "Hands on shoulders. Move by touch." The boy shoved two kids behind a trough. "Keep heads down. Count to 50. A gutter of rounds tore dust where the kids had stood. Stones spat. The gun coughed, then hesitated. Taza's voice cut the fog. "Cottonwoods! Flank!" Kose's answer was a hawk call. "With me." Two Knives slapped the boy's shoulder. "Come, I'm with you," the boy said. Dunn shoved Vance behind the coach wall. "You breathe behind iron or you don't breathe." "My papers," Vance began. "Paper doesn't bleed," Dunn said. Rig's wagon crew swung their crank gun toward the green mouth. "Captain." "Disable only," Rig said. "Barrel, axle, shield, no bodies." "Pin's bent," the loader cried. "Change it," Rig said. Sloane slid along the fence on elbows. He hissed to the boy through steam. "Wire." "What?" the boy coughed. "Telegraph spool," Sloane said. "Wrap their axle." "Where?" the boy asked. "Depot." "I'll get it," Two Knives said. "No, I run," the boy said. "You burn," Two Knives said. "I've burned," the boy said, and ran. He hit the depot door by feel, tore a small coil of line from a peg, and sprinted back, rope slapping his leg. "Here," he wheezed. Kose reached out of steam, fingers sure. "Tie to my horn." He cinched the wire. "We sweep it." "Don't break your horse," the boy said. "He breaks me before that," Kose said. He grinned once and vanished into white. The green gun thumped again. A pew shattered inside the church. The bell rope groaned like a dying mast. "Faster," the sheriff said. Dunn grabbed the engineer's arm. "More steam." "That's all," the engineer coughed. "Then brakes," Dunn said. "Hold her still." Rig's loader slammed a fresh pin. "Ready." "Short burst," Rig said. "Take their axle." The wagon's crank spun once. 3 shots. Sparks leapt on the green gun's shield. It hiccuped. Then it roared again. "Low," Doc Finch barked. A round turned his hat into lace. He stared at the hole. Rude. Taza and Two Knives slid through cottonwoods. Ghosts. A round chewed bark. Taza didn't flinch. "Wire." "Here," the boy gasped, belly to dirt. He fed line into Kose's hand, like thread to a needle. Kose burst from cloud on the bay mare with the straightened shoe. He cut close to the green sled, horn-kissing axle. The wire scraped, sang, then bit. "Now!" he called. "Rap twice!" Taza yelled. Kose circled tight. The gunner swung to track him. A shaft hissed from the fog and pinned the gunner's coat to the shield. Taza's fast and mean. The gunner cursed and tore free. The muzzle wandered. "Pull!" the boy shouted. Kose dug heels. The wire went taut. The sled shuddered. The crew yelled, grabbing for balance. "Again!" Two Knives roared. Kose hauled. The sled crabbed a foot and slammed crooked. The belt jammed. The crank spun air. "It's stuck," the loader cried. "Clear it!" the gunner hissed. Riggs' wagon fired another 3-count. Shots hammered the green gun's left wheel. Spokes splintered. The sled sagged. "Cease," Riggs said. "We don't paint the crowd." One of Riggs' mercs, the one with the fixed mare, leaped from his saddle, grabbed a soaked tarp and sprinted toward the green muzzle. "Back!" the gunner shouted. The merc slapped the wet canvas across the vents. Steam rose. The muzzle coughed. The crank flopped. Dead. The square gasped, half believing. Vance popped his head out, smile returning like mold. "Arrest them. All of them." Dunn didn't even look. "You first." A shape loomed in steam. Besh. He'd slid along the fence while men watched guns. His bandaged hand hugged his belly. The other held a knife. He aimed at the wire that bound the green axle. "Cut." "Don't," the boy warned. Besh bared teeth. "Dust!" Sloane's rifle coughed. The knife spun. Besh howled and vanished into mesquite. "Find him later," the sheriff snapped. "Later," Sloane agreed. The steam thinned. Faces appeared like ghosts, cured of being dead. "Everyone up," Dunn called. Hands shone. Rigg raised his pistol to the sky and fired once. "Downrange is safe. Hold your temper." The merc with the tarp panted. Palms blistered. He looked at the boy. "Your mare thanks you." "She does," the boy said. "She keeps me honest," the merc said. The green gun crew fought their jam, angry and clumsy. The loader yanked at the belt. The gunner cursed the world. Kose's wire sang. "Tie it off," Taza said. "Where?" the boy asked. 2 knives pointed with his chin. "Bell rope." The boy blinked. "What?" "Church stump," 2 knives said. "Rope is strong." The sheriff's head turned. "Do it." They sprinted. The boy grabbed the frayed bell line and heaved it through the fence slats. 2 knives took the free end and wrapped it around the green sled's axle, twice, thrice. "Pull," Taza said. "On what?" the boy asked. "On us," 2 knives said. They hauled. Rigg whistled. 2 notes. 2 of his riders dropped reins and added muscle without words. The wire cut into the bell rope and bit harder. The sled groaned. "Stop them!" Vance squealed. "Stop yourself," Dunn said. The green crew found their anger and their wrench. The loader cranked at the belt feed. The gunner spun the handle. The crank caught. Then thunked. The sled didn't track. The bell rope held like history itself. Rigg nodded once. "Good knot." "Grandmother's," Taza said. "Best kind," the boy echoed, grin sudden and raw. Care had teeth. Vance tried again. "Captain, seize—" "Receiver," Rigg said, voice bored. "One more word and I bill you for my patience." Vance shut his mouth and bled pride. Dunn stepped to the green platform. He spoke low, not for show. "Stand down. You fire again, I bury you under affidavits and whatever else I find." The gunner spat near Dunn's boot. "Orders." "Mine now," Dunn said. He plucked the belt from the feed and tossed it to Sloane. Sloane caught it and smiled like a man who'd just bit a nail in half. "Souvenir." A dry snap cut the moment. Everyone froze. Not gun, not wood. Rope. The bell line frayed where wire bit it. One more pull and it would part. "Back!" the sheriff yelled. "Wait," the boy said. He slid his burnt hands along the rope, found fresh twist, and made a quick hitch, simple and sure. "Overhand. Around. Lock." It held. "Who taught you that?" Doc Finch asked. "Fence," the boy said. Dunn exhaled. "Enough stupid for one day. Coach rolls, Holt's front, 2 knives with me, no chains." Vance sputtered. "Obstruction." "Breathe," Dunn said. Rigg sheathed his pistol. "Escort 6. Rest hold the square. No one touches a rifle without my nod." His men nodded. Precise. The engineer cracked the throttle. The coach lurched. The boy grabbed the rail. The sheriff's hand caught the small of his back. "Easy." "I'm good," the boy said. "Liar," the sheriff said. The coach squeaked past the bell stump. Kose rode a pace off, hand on the wire, keeping slack even. Doc Finch called, "Come back alive." "Plan on it," the boy said. Hay crack popped from the juniper. Small, sharp, jealous. Not a rifle, a cap gun. Besh's temper misfiring like a child's toy. It still made shoulders climb. "Ignore him," Taza said, exhausted. They made 3 lengths clean. Then a new motion tugged the world sideways. The iron horse hiccuped. The brakes released. The coach jerked hard, faster than a walk, then faster than a run. "Who moved the lever?" Dunn barked. The engineer yelled back, strangled. "It's not me." The boy slipped. His bandaged hands tore on the rail. He hung from one arm, boots scrabbling. "James!" the sheriff roared. "I've got—" The boy started. He didn't. His grip slid. Dunn lunged for his collar and missed air. Two Knives flung himself, fingers brushing the boy's sleeve. The coach gathered speed, iron whining. The green crew, freed from their jam, found the crank again. The gun swung to follow the moving target like a cat's eye finding a bird. Rig turned to shout a command. Vance smiled for the first honest time all day. The gunner's hand found the handle, and the coach dragged the sheriff's son toward the muzzle, the bell rope snapping behind him like a broken oath. The coach jolted hard, wheels screaming. The boy dangled, boots clawing iron, arms on fire. "James!" the sheriff thundered, sprinting beside the rail. His hand swiped air, too short. Dunn lunged again. "Hold him!" "I can't!" the boy gasped. His bandaged palms tore open, slick. Two Knives flung himself half out of the step. "Take my wrist." The boy swung, missed, swung again, caught by Two Knives' scarred grip. The coach dragged them both. Metal shrieked. "Pull!" Dunn barked. He locked his arm through Two Knives' belt and heaved. Together they yanked the boy inside. He collapsed on the floorboards, coughing, chest heaving. The sheriff burst in, face carved with terror. "You fool! I told you," the boy wheezed. "Smart fool." Before relief could breathe, the green gun swung. Its barrel tracked the moving coach. The gunner grinned wide. The handle twitched. "Down!" Dunn barked. He threw himself over both prisoners. The green gun chattered, 3 rounds only before the belt slipped loose. Sparks flew. The wagon shuddered. Sloane's rifle cracked from the fence. A Merc folded over the crank. The gun froze, silent. Rig cursed. "Cease! Cease!" His own men held their fire, but their eyes burned at the receiver crew. The crowd surged, screaming. Mothers dragged children behind troughs. Doc Finch shouted, "Buckets! Buckets again!" though no fire yet burned. The sheriff's son rolled to his knees. "It won't stop. Not till one side breaks." The sheriff gripped his shoulder. "We hold till morning." "Not enough," the boy said, his eyes fixed on the muzzle still pointed at them. Two Knives pushed up, jaw like stone. "We end it now." "How?" Dunn snapped. "Rope," Two Knives said. "Always rope." They burst onto the coach platform. Wind ripped the boy's hair. The green crew fumbled another belt. Vance clapped like a madman. "Bind it!" Two Knives growled. He hurled the last coil of bell rope across the gap. It whipped over the crank axle. "Hold!" the boy shouted. He braced with ruined palms, teeth clenched. The sheriff grabbed two. Dunn planted his boots. Sloane covered them from the fence, rifle steady. The axle turned once, then snagged. Rope wound tight, shrieking. The crank seized. The gunner cursed, tried to wrench it free. The sheriff shouted, "Pull!" They hauled as one. The whole sled jolted sideways. Wheels split, shield bent. The muzzle dug into dirt, helpless. Cheers ripped the square. For the first time, true. Rig holstered his pistol slow. He met the sheriff's eyes. "Your town." "Your rule tonight," Vance shrieked, spittle bright. "This is treason, treason against capital." Dunn strode over and struck him again, harder. "This is survival." Besh broke from scrub, screaming, "No survival! Dust!" He raised a pistol with his ruined hand. The boy stepped forward, no weapon, only fire in his voice. "End it then. Put me down in front of every witness. Prove you're smaller than all of us." Besh's hand shook. Pride fought shame. Then the pistol clattered from his fingers. He fell to his knees, screaming wordless, not from pain but loss. Taza dismounted. He stood over him. "Enough." The crowd pressed closer. Hands touched the boy's shoulders, his back, his arm, one after another. Witness sealing truth stronger than wax. Doc Finch's voice broke. "Judge or no judge, law walked here today." The sheriff's jaw eased. He wrapped his arm around his son, tight. "You're still mine." "And theirs," the boy whispered. Dunn raised his voice, rough. "I'll ride this to Hallie. Every statement, every fuse, every knot. You'll face court as men, not chains. You'll keep that? The sheriff asked. Dunn nodded. On my star. Rigg faced his line. Stand down. His mercs lowered rifles in unison. The man with the fixed mare even saluted the boy. Silent respect. The green crew muttered, but dared nothing. Their gun lay gutted, bound in rope and shame. Vance spat blood, hissed through teeth. This isn't the end. The boy met his eyes. Calm. No, it's the start. The bell rope fluttered in wind. Not broken, just frayed, still holding. The crowd parted to let the coach roll again. Slow, peaceful this time. Children ran behind, laughing thin but real. The sheriff walked beside his son, one hand always steady on him. Two Knives limped close, proud despite burns. Taza followed, eyes heavy with old knowing. They had survived paper, pride, and iron, at least for tonight. But as stars climbed, the boy whispered to his father, "Lo, they'll send more." "I know," the sheriff said. "We'll mend again." Peace holds by rope and witness, yet capital isn't done, and the sheriff's son knows his trial has only begun. Before Judge Halley, before all, the question isn't if he'll survive, but what he'll become. Morning came with a thin light, grey as ash yet softer than night's fire. The town stirred like an old dog rising, slow, sore, but breathing. The sheriff stood in the square, badge dull, Colt holstered. His son sat on the church steps, palms wrapped thick, eyes heavy. Doc Finch checked the bandages once more. "You shouldn't ride." "I have to," the boy said. The sheriff's hand hovered near him. "He's right. You don't need to prove anything." "I already did," the boy said. "Now I have to keep it." Two Knives stepped forward, jaw scarred, eyes steady. "We ride together, fence menders, not prisoners." The boy managed a faint grin. "That'll confuse them." Dunn approached, star-polished, dust on his boots. "Judge Halley's waiting in Cross Creek, 10 miles. No shackles, we go slow." Rigg leaned against his wagon wheel, arms folded. "I'll keep the road clean." "My men stay put here." "You could bolt," the sheriff said. "Could," Rigg answered. "But I was paid once already. This time I saw who actually saved my pay." The boy met his father's eyes. "Ready?" The sheriff nodded, voice low. "Ready?" They rode out. Sheriff, son, Dunn, Two Knives. Behind them, townsfolk lined the road, silent but watchful, hands lifted in quiet blessing. A biscuit wrapped in cloth pressed into the boy's coat pocket by the ranch wife again. "For the judge," she whispered. The trail bent along a creek. Cottonwoods whispered overhead. Dunn broke the silence. "You speak plain, don't dress it." The boy nodded. "Fence and fire, that's all." By noon, Cross Creek appeared. Small town, one brick hall, flag limp in still air. People gathered outside, drawn by word of fire and rope. Inside, Judge Halley sat high, robes simple, eyes sharp. "Step forward." The sheriff bowed his head. "Your Honor." Dunn set papers on the desk. Statements, signatures, witnesses, law of record. Halley read quick, efficient. Then he lifted his gaze. "Receiver Vance?" Vance limped in, face bruised, collar soot-stained. "Your Honor, these men assaulted federal authority, burned writs, harbor criminals." "Did you fire on civilians?" Halley asked flat. "Only to restore order." "Yes or no?" "Yes," Vance whispered. Halley turned to Two Knives. "You cut fence." Two Knives bowed his head. "I did, hungry." "Was anyone killed?" "No." "Injured?" "A man's arm. He heals." "Are you willing to work debt?" "Yes, already started," Two Knives said. Halley studied him long, then shifted to the boy. "And you, James Holt? Sheriff's son, you bled, you nearly died. Why?" The boy swallowed. His father's hand was at his shoulder, steady. "Because fire doesn't stop by itself. Because law is more than paper. Because people watched me and I couldn't let them see me run," the hall murmured. Halley's eyes narrowed but not cruel. "You defied a receiver." "Yes," the boy said, "knowing it could hang you." "Yes." "Would you again?" The boy's voice didn't waver. "If it saves one fence post, one child, one town, yes." Silence held. Halley leaned back, fingers drumming once. "Law written far away can lose its ears." "But law lived here." He pointed at the boy's hands, at Two Knives' scars, at the sheriff's badge. That law still breathes. I'll not bury it. Vance gasped. Your Honor. Silence, Hallie said. Receiver petitions denied. Sheriff Holt remains in post. James Holt cleared of contempt. Two Knives to work debt under sheriff's watch. No rope. The gavel fell once, sharp as a rifle shot. The hall erupted, cheers, sobs, relief. The sheriff gripped his son tight, voice breaking. You stood taller than me today. The boy smiled through tears. I just didn't fall. Two Knives clasped his burnt hands, gentle. We mend together. We do, the boy said. Hallie rose. His voice carried one last weight. Capital will send more paper. But this record stands, and so will you, if you keep working as you swore. Dunn tipped his hat. Good enough for me. Outside, the crowd parted. Children ran to touch the boy's coat. Women pressed food into his father's hands. Witnesses weren't just in the square anymore. They were the road, the hall, the whole county. That night, back in town, the bell rope swayed in the wind. Frayed, singed, but holding. Like them. The boy sat by the fence line with his father, watching stars blink out. Think it's done? The sheriff asked. No, the boy said. But tomorrow we mend again. The sheriff smiled, proud and tired. That's enough. This story reminds us, law is not only ink and seals, but also sweat, scars, and the courage to stand when it matters most. A sheriff's son learned that justice begins at home, in small acts of care that ripple against fire and pride. If this tale moved you, subscribe for more stories of grit and heart. And don't miss our next video. You'll see how another unlikely stand changed lives forever.